Imagine living in a world where giants not only walked the earth but shaped its history in ways that defy belief. Picture a man so enormous that his very skeleton needed to be preserved as a testament to his extraordinary life, or a couple whose love was so immense that they built a home with 14-foot ceilings to match their towering heights. What if I told you that these are not just stories but true accounts of people whose lives were as remarkable as their stature? We're about to get into the lives of 18 human giants who stood head and shoulders above the rest, not just in height but in the impact they left behind. From a gentle giant who found himself kidnapped and displayed like a curiosity across Europe, to a man whose encounter with a toxic gas forever altered his appearance and led him to become a horror movie legend. These tales will leave you questioning what you thought was possible. But be prepared, because the more you learn, the more you'll want to uncover the mysteries that these giants left behind. What was it like to live in a world not built for you? And how did these towering figures navigate the challenges that came with their size? Let's find out. Robert Wadlow, born in 1918 in Alton, Illinois, remains the tallest man ever recorded at a staggering 8 feet 11 inches, a result of a pituitary gland condition causing uncontrollable growth. By age 8, he had already outgrown his father. Despite his immense size, which required custom leg braces and size 37 AA shoes, Wadlow was known as the gentle giant for his kind, soft-spoken nature. Tragically, an infection from his leg braces led to his death at just 22. Today, a statue in Alton honors his extraordinary life. But if you think that's tall, wait until you meet a man whose strength matched his height. Angus MacAskill, born in 1825 in Scotland and raised in Nova Scotia, was a giant at 7 feet 9 inches, known for his astonishing strength. Dubbed the Cape Breton Giant, he could lift a 2,800-pound anchor, carry barrels of fish under each arm, and even hoist 250 pounds with just 3 fingers. This famous photo shows him towering over a 6'5" friend, showing his immense size. MacAskill toured with P.T. Barnum's circus, but despite his fame, he preferred a more quiet life in Nova Scotia. While Angus MacAskill's strength made him a legend, another giant's towering presence led him into the world of horror, a face that would haunt audiences forever. Rondo Hatton, born in 1894 in Hagerstown, Maryland, and raised in Tampa, Florida, became an unexpected icon in the horror film genre of the 1940s. Hatton wasn't always destined for the silver screen. Before his condition developed, he was a handsome and athletic young man, even named handsomest boy in high school. He served in World War I, where exposure to toxic gas likely triggered his acromegaly, a condition that caused abnormal bone growth. His most famous appearances include the spine-chilling character of the Creeper in films like The Pearl of Death and House of Horrors. Despite his towering presence and growing fame, Hatton's life was marked by the health complications of his condition, which ultimately shortened his career. Rondo Hatton's towering figure left audiences uneasy, but the next giant faced a challenge that kept him seated, even as his height broke all records. But what could confine someone so immense? Julius Caw, famously known as Le Géant Constantin, was a towering figure standing at an incredible 8 feet 2 inches. This image is a promotional poster from the London Pavilion, an iconic venue in London that hosted a wide variety of performances. It captures the contrast between Caw and a military officer beside him, showing his immense height. Dressed in a refined tuxedo with gold accents, Caw's massive hands, measuring over 13 inches, add to his imposing presence. Born in Reutlingen, Germany in 1872, Caw became paralyzed in his legs by his early 20s, confining him to a wheelchair. Despite these challenges, he toured Europe's fairs and circuses. Tragically, his life was cut short at age 30 due to complications related to his height. While Caw's life was filled with challenges, another giantess in North America faced a different battle, one that involved a love story unlike any other. This photograph of Anna Haining Bates, towering above 2 individuals in Victorian attire, powerfully illustrates her nearly 8-foot height and the awe it inspired. Dressed in a formal gown with intricate lace detailing, Anna's extraordinary stature contrasts sharply with those beside her. Anna Haining Bates, born in 1846 in Nova Scotia, Canada, stood nearly 8 feet tall and became famous for her extraordinary height and her remarkable life story. She was discovered at the age of 16 by P.T. Barnum and quickly became a star attraction, but it was her marriage to Martin Van Buren Bates, another giant, that truly captured the public's imagination. Dubbed the giant couple, their wedding was a sensation, with thousands flocking to see the pair. Despite the public's fascination, Anna longed for a quiet life. Tragically, she lost 2 children in infancy, both of whom were born large but did not survive. Anna's health also deteriorated due to her size, and she passed away at the age of 41. Love and loss seemed to follow Anna, but on the other side of the world, a gentle giant was drawing crowds for a completely different reason. Chang Yu-sing, born in Fuzhou, China, in 1847, stood at an astonishing 8 feet 2 inches, making him one of the tallest men in recorded history. Unlike many giants, Chang enjoyed relatively good health throughout his life, a rarity among those with gigantism. His life took a dramatic turn when he was discovered by the American entrepreneur George Auger during a visit to China. Auger was so captivated by Chang's extraordinary height that he convinced him to travel to the United States, where Chang became a major attraction in P.T. Barnum's circus. Audiences marveled not just at his height, but at his gentle nature. One anecdote recounts how Chang once gently lifted a child into the air, much to the delight of a crowd, showcasing not only his immense size, but also his surprising grace. Despite the fame, Chang lived a relatively quiet life off the stage, maintaining his cultural heritage and staying true to his roots. But this is where the story gets interesting. From the calm spectacle of a Chinese giant, we turn to a battlefield where a much more menacing figure loomed, a giant who became a legend of fear. Max Palmer, born in 1927 in Pontotoc, Mississippi, was a larger-than-life figure in every sense of the word. As a young man, Palmer was a basketball player at Mississippi State University, where he dominated the court with his size. In this photo, Max Palmer, towering over a woman standing on a sofa, emphasizes the difference in their heights, with his head nearly touching the ceiling. Standing at 7 feet 7 inches, Palmer's imposing height and strength earned him the nickname Paul Bunyan in the world of professional wrestling. His imposing frame also led to a brief but memorable career in Hollywood. One of his most famous roles was as a Martian giant in Invaders from Mars, 1953, where his sheer size made him the perfect fit for the role of an alien invader. Despite his success, Palmer's life took an unexpected turn when he left the world of entertainment to become a preacher. He traveled across the United States, delivering sermons and using his fame to draw crowds to his religious services. Max Palmer's towering fame was impressive, but our next giant faced a condition that pushed his body to unimaginable extremes, making his strength both a marvel and a burden. Édouard Beaupré, born in 1881 in Willow Bunch, Canada, grew to an astounding height of 8 feet 3 inches, earning him the title of the Willow Bunch Giant. This photograph emphasizes his 8 feet 3 inches frame, but also features text that shares his remarkable story. The inscription details his origins in Willow Bunch, Saskatchewan, offering a glimpse into his brief yet impactful life as the Chant Canadien. His extraordinary size made him a sensation, showcasing his incredible strength in feats such as lifting horses and bending iron bars, acts that left audiences breathless. Despite his dazzling performances, Beaupré's life was overshadowed by the challenges of acromegaly, a condition that caused his bones and tissues to grow uncontrollably. Tragically, his health deteriorated quickly, and he died at just 23. In a grim twist, his preserved body was displayed as a medical curiosity, reflecting the exploitation and objectification of giants in that era. But this is nothing compared to our next giant, whose unique abilities would astound even seasoned performers. Johan Pedersen, born in 1913 in Iceland, was a towering figure at 7 feet 8 inches, making him the tallest man ever recorded in his homeland. In this photo, Johan Pettersson is seen wearing an elaborate costume that includes a feathered helmet, metallic tunic, and a flowing cape. His outstretched arm and confident stance amplify his commanding presence against the backdrop of the woman beside him. As a young man, Pettersson joined a traveling circus where he captivated audiences across Europe and the United States. His life on the road was not without its trials. Finding properly fitting clothing and dealing with daily discomforts were persistent struggles. Yet Pettersson's talent extended beyond his stature. He was an accomplished accordionist who played a custom-built instrument, charming audiences with his musical prowess. His performances were so enchanting that, in 1939, he even played for King George VI of the United Kingdom. After retiring, Pettersson returned to Iceland, where he lived a quieter life until his death in 1984. But you probably won't be prepared for what follows, a tale of both intrigue and exploitation. Cornelius McGrath, born in Ireland in the early 18th century, reached a remarkable height of 7 feet 10 inches, drawing widespread attention and curiosity. His unusual size began attracting interest during his teenage years, but it was his kidnapping by a traveling showman that catapulted him into the limelight. In a dramatic twist, McGrath was abducted from his home and paraded across Europe, where he was exhibited as a marvel of nature. His captor exploited McGrath's stature, showcasing him in various cities and making a fortune from his appearances. Despite the harsh treatment, McGrath's condition fascinated scientists, and his remains were meticulously preserved after his death at just 24. While McGrath's life was marked by exploitation, another giantess' existence stretched the limits of what was thought possible. This portrait features Trintje Kiever, often referred to as De Groot Mead, the big girl. Dressed in a dark, voluminous gown with intricate lace detailing, Trintje's imposing stature is accentuated by the elegance of her attire. Born in the Netherlands in 1616, she holds the record as the tallest woman ever documented, reaching a remarkable 8 feet 4 inches. Her extraordinary height made her a prominent figure in European courts and fairs. A notable episode in her life was her appearance at the court of King Louis XIII of France in 1638, where she was part of a grand exhibition that also featured other wonders of nature, including exotic animals and rare human curiosities. The French court was enthralled by her size, and her presence was so striking that she reportedly drew large crowds and inspired numerous artists and writers of the time. In addition to royal showcases, Kiever was also known to have participated in a human curiosity exhibition in London, where she was displayed alongside other giants and unique people. Despite her fame, her life was marred by health issues related to her height, including respiratory problems. She passed away at just 17, possibly from pneumonia. But if you thought this was the end, you were wrong. Across the world, someone else was casting a tall shadow on the silver screen. Locke Martin, born in 1916 in Pennsylvania, wasn't just a giant, he was also an actor. Standing at 7 feet 7 inches, Martin is best known for his role as the towering robot Gort in the classic sci-fi film The Day the Earth Stood Still. His height, however, came with limitations. Martin's frail health meant he struggled with the physical demands of his roles, but his imposing figure was unforgettable. Outside of acting, Martin worked as a doorman at Grauman's Chinese Theater, where his size made him a local celebrity. From the big screen's towering Gort to an ancient Greek legend, our next giant's ventures span both time and myth. Milo of Croton was an ancient Greek athlete, born around 6th century BC, and was famous for his incredible strength and size. He was a 6-time Olympic wrestling champion and dominated the sport for decades. Known for his immense physique, Milo's legendary feats of strength included carrying a fully grown bull on his shoulders before slaughtering and eating it in one sitting. Milo's training method was as remarkable as his achievements. He would carry a young calf daily, and as the calf grew, so did Milo's strength. His legend ended with a bizarre death, where in an attempt to split a tree, he got trapped and was devoured by wolves. From ancient myths to modern-day warriors, the next giant's journey takes us deep into the heart of Africa, where his incredible height became a symbol of resistance. Awort Pahiter, born in 1924 in South Africa, was an extraordinary 7 feet 2 inches tall and weighed around 330 pounds, making him a colossal figure in the world of professional wrestling. His immense size was more than 50% larger than most of his contemporaries, a fact that created a buzz in the wrestling world. Pahiter, known as Goliath, quickly became a sensation in the 1950s and 1960s. In 1955, he made headlines in the UK when top promoter Jack Solomons brought him over for a series of bouts. Pahiter's debut in Britain featured a string of knockout victories that further cemented his reputation as a formidable opponent. Beyond the ring, Pahiter also gained fame as a doorman at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, where his towering figure continued to fascinate the public. But if you thought Pahiter's height was impressive, wait until you hear about this next giant. Standing at an impressive 8 feet 3 inches, Suleiman Ali Nashnish from Libya is among the rare few in medical history to surpass 8 feet in height. Born in 1943, Nashnish's towering stature was due to a pituitary gland condition, which also led him to undergo surgery in 1960 to correct his abnormal growth. His remarkable height earned him a spot on the Libyan national basketball team, where he made waves in the sport. His height became a defining aspect of his career in entertainment. He appeared in Federico Fellini's surreal film Satyricon, playing the role of Tryphaena's attendant. Despite the Guinness Book of Records listing him at 8 feet 3 inches for decades, the exact authenticity of his height has been a topic of debate. Nashnish passed away on February 25, 1991. Just as Suleiman Ali Nashnish's towering legacy leaves you in awe, another giant from centuries past emerges, a figure so imposing that his preserved skeleton still captures imaginations today. Anton de Frankenpoint, a towering figure born in the early 16th century in Germany, was an extraordinary man whose life story is steeped in legend. Standing at over 7 feet tall, he served as a bodyguard to King Christian III of Denmark. His physical prowess was legendary. He reportedly wielded a sword nearly as tall as he was. His remains, discovered in what was once the Holy Roman Empire, were preserved with remarkable care, as we can see in this photo. Notice the impressive size of his skeleton compared to the people standing beside it. In a time when giants were rare and revered, his skeleton was preserved and studied, becoming one of the earliest known records of such height. As the skeleton of Anton de Frankenpoint tells its silent story, another towering figure was creating a buzz, not just for his height, but for his unique battle with something as ordinary as socks. Don Kohler, born September 1, 1925 in Denton, Montana, was recognized as the tallest man in the world from 1969 until his death in 1981. Kohler's height was a result of a rare condition that began affecting him at age 10. He wore size 22 shoes and famously struggled with finding socks that fit until a Pennsylvania company began crafting custom hosiery for him. He worked for 25 years as a salesman for the Big Joe Manufacturing Company. Despite his incredible height, Kohler faced significant health challenges later in life, including kyphosis, which caused severe curvature of the spine. By the time of his death in 1981, his height had slightly diminished to about 7 feet 10 inches. True to his wishes, his ashes were scattered on Long Lake in Wisconsin, a place he cherished for its fishing. Meanwhile, another giant was making headlines with a custom-built house designed just for him. Captain Martin Van Buren Bates, born November 9, 1837, in Kentucky, stood at an impressive 7 feet 9 inches and weighed 475 pounds. Known as the Kentucky Giant, Bates' extraordinary height became evident early in his life. By age 12, he was already over 6 feet tall and weighed more than 200 pounds. His height was a notable asset during the American Civil War, where he served with distinction in the 5th Kentucky Infantry. Despite suffering severe injuries and being captured, he escaped imprisonment and continued to fight. After the war, Bates' life took a fascinating turn when he joined the circus. It was during this period that he met and married Anna Swan, who was nearly as tall as he was at 7 feet 11 inches. Their marriage was celebrated with a grand ceremony in London, attended by thousands and blessed by Queen Victoria. The couple's home in Saville, Ohio, was uniquely designed with 14-foot ceilings to accommodate their stature. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out these other videos right here. And don't forget to subscribe.